You are listening to The Ben Keech Show, where every day the objective is simple. Ben will never stop fighting the fight and lighting the light on topics that affect you every day.
Howdy, everybody. My name is Ben, and I am glad you are watching, listening, or whatever the heck you're doing, but you're here. I am honored to have you. And this is episode 76. And before I tell you about the episode, I know the last several episodes I've had like a small little party going on while we've been doing the podcast. So this is a little bit of retro, old school, a simplistic, just me. Talking about important things, I hope, to you. I will, number one, put it out there that I am looking for people who have ideas, thoughts that they want to have discussions about, that I think you're an interesting person and that we can have interesting conversations. I've done a lot of stuff about relationships. I may take a little bit of a pause on that topic, but we'll probably come back to it. Part of the reason is I am embarking on a new coaching career. I've already been doing stuff with men, and I'm opening up another section to my coaching about conflict resolution. I have had plenty of conflict in my life, and I haven't always resolved it well, but I've learned, and I want to put myself out there to help people know how to navigate it within their strength and to not lose their emotional side of them to where they become frazzled and a weaker version of themselves. So if you or anyone you know is interested in help in that way, I've even had some fun conversations where I will communicate with people you have trouble communicating with for you via phone. So that is the first thing. Actually, the second thing, always looking for guests. Ultimately, my long-term plan with this, folks, is to bring on a partner. So it's me and somebody else, so you get used to it. Now, my kids are going to sub in. I've had other people willing to do that. I'm still kind of feeling that part out, but that's number two. Number three is we are just got back from a speaking gig, so still kind of doing that, working hard and heavy on the two books that I've been writing about men and about love. I'm actually meeting this week with a painter friend of mine who was friends with my mom in high school, and she's going to help me kind of put together my idea not only for the artwork for the book, but also for the mural that we're going to create. That's connected to the title, My Relationship with Love. More to come on that later. The always the same request of subscribing and sharing and liking and checking it out on TikTok, Instagram, whatever. We are always looking for support and help. Last but not least, if you know someone who needs someone to come into the workplace to provide education, information that could be relevant to stress and burnout and mental illnesses that are taking over people and causing them not to do well in the workplace, I am definitely interested in talking to them or youth sports teams. If you are needing like some sports psychology help for young athletes, whether it's as an entire team or an individual, I'd love to help them out as well. Okay, let's move on into episode 76. We're going to do a little series, what's true and what's false. And a lot of times me saying it that way is basically saying a definitive statement. I'm going to tell you what's true and I'm going to tell you what's false. But we'll navigate through that one topic at a time. We're going to start with a continuation of a topic that I actually did. I actually recorded the episode in December and then ultimately played it in January, and now we're obviously months later. And so the title of this topic is What's True and False About Me. And my goal of this episode is to highlight different evolutions that we all have in life and relationships and how we, and our kids and just different things and what's important and what's not. So hopefully me talking about my journey helps you to connect one way or another on your journey and there's something that you can take from this episode. Again, I'd love to have conversations with you about this, so feel free to engage online as well. So, what's true? What's false about me and my journey? So, let's go back in time for a second. So, we all have things in our life that drive us, that motivate us, generally speaking. So, for me, what that was helping others, was educating others, whether that was kids, it was coaching kids, helping them get better at basketball, get better at baseball. Like, my drive was people. Through communication and through a pretty intense drive that I have, I wanted to, that was what my focus was. That's what I want to do with my life. Again, the thing that I've talked about on these episodes before, living life backwards. What are people going to say about me? What are they going to say about you at your funeral? What is this all about, this life that we're living? So I also, though, had a very, and I don't think that this is a problem, but I had a very romanticized look at love. When I was a youngster, I was ready and excited to get married. I wanted to have kids. This was something that was deep inside of me, even as a teenager, which I feel like it's a little bit unusual, but that is just how have always been wired. If you know me, you know that that's a true statement. When I embarked upon my adult life and decided I wanted to be a coach and decided I wanted to be a teacher, and I met somebody that I wanted to marry, the thing that was so common about us was our passion for kids and for family. We're very linked in on that. And as parents, I think that showed, as we were often united on all aspects of raising kids. It was actually a very easy process with my ex to raise children together because we really looked at a lot of things the same. We come from different backgrounds and different places, but together we really met each other pretty well in that department. And obviously we both believe we love our kids, and they're off to the races in their own adult life. But what happened was, along the way, and I was having an interesting conversation with my son about this, it's interesting to kind of go back into your family tree in terms of relationships, right? So looking back at, and I'm not gonna, there's no spilling the beans in this episode. This is just very safe vanilla stuff for right now. That when you look back at my past, what I take from it, what I loved about it, what I was so thankful for my dad about, my mom about, my grandparents about, there are so many things that I got from those connections and relationships that made me today. And my wife, ex-wife, would say the same thing about her family. But in reality, when you look at our issues and problems as a married couple, you can see how there was, you could see some of the blessings, but also some of the shortcomings and some of the things that we had to work through. That was a struggle. I can tell you things that my dad is way better than me at, and I can tell you things that I have maybe, and I say this humbly, I just have a different look than him at some things. Okay, so what does this all mean? What are we talking about? What's the point of this? The point is that when we got a divorce, it's been about 6 years ago now, when we got a divorce, my mission was the same mission that I had at 18, find a wife. My mission, and at whatever age I was, in my mid to upper 40s, my mission, find a wife. And that's what I embarked on doing. And through the last 6 years, what's true and what's not true about that part of my journey is I met some of my most favorite people I've ever known in my life, like by far. Many of those, not all of them, but many of those were even met on a dating app. But the common thread in this whole thing was that none of them were meant to be my wife. They were meant to be a lot of things. A best friend, somebody who I would deeply care for them, their family, somebody I would trust. They would trust me, a very reliable friendship, a lot of great things, but just not meant to be my wife. Now, in that part of it, I would say there was one exception to that. There was one person, and it still is to this day, where I, if I had the opportunity to, you know, embark in a relationship with her again, I would do it in a heartbeat. But that relationship also ended. And so we move on. What's true and not true is I have, for the first time in my life, with that breakup, it was the same girl I had talked about back in December, I had to figure out, what's my life about? Where am I going? What am I doing? What's important? And how do I find peace and contentment? Because I'll tell you, for 6 years, and a lot of you guys relate to this, a lot of you guys that are in, you're on the dating apps, you're trying to find your person, maybe you had a marriage that failed, at the end of the day, you just want your person. You just want to be happy, and so that drives us. It's driven me. And through good experiences and a few negative experiences, but it's driven me. And I, with this, this breakup that I had, ultimately the breakup was around Christmas time. With this breakup that I had, and then how I navigated my 2025, something has happened inside of me, and sometimes I probably wish it would even happen further, where God has removed my desire to date, my desire to even possibly get married. It's not that I wouldn't do it if it was the right person, but I have decided that I am now, probably for the first time, if I'm being honest, for the first time since my divorce, I am choosing to live and create my world, and it doesn't matter if she's ever in it or not. So here's what that looks like for me. I don't know what it looks like for you. What it looks like, because I think what it looks like for other people, including myself, is, they deal with the loneliness side of it, or they deal with, well, I just want to go on trips, or I just want to have, like, the things that you have with your person. You only get that part of your life if you have that person. Like, you can't have that with someone that you're just so with, friends with. You can even necessarily casual dating. It has to be the person that you're dedicated and devoted to. And so people realize, well, if I don't have that, I'm missing something. And this was like my own personal dilemma as well. So when things did not work out with the girl that I wished they would have worked out with, and I'm just not saying her name for protection purposes, but that I wish it would have worked out with her, I then had to say, okay, I have now experienced something that for me was the pinnacle. I had not experienced that with anyone else. Now what do I do? Where do I go? Now that relationship's not going to work, because now I'm looking at all relationships or even people through the eyes of her, which again is probably also part of my process for moving on, which is obviously takes some time and can be difficult. I then decided that, what type of life am I going to build for myself? So number one, buy a house. Number two, my career with my lawn company, with speaking, with writing books, with my podcast. It's all going amazing. It takes a lot of time and energy. I've put a lot of my time and energy into dating. And so taking that out, cutting that out of my life and say, you know what? Ben has tried to figure out far too long who, I'm going to solve this puzzle. And now stepping back, it's not about me solving any puzzle. It's about, if God brings someone in my life that makes sense for a relationship, makes sense for marriage, I'll pay attention. I'll listen. I won't run from that. But I'm done looking. And it's not my it's literally not my responsibility anymore. And what it's done is it's freed me. I thought, I've always wanted to be an avid bike rider. What am I going to do? In the next couple months, I'm buying myself a bike, and I probably will still refuse to wear helmets because helmets are overrated. But I'm going to buy a bike, and I'm going to buy a car that I can put that bike on. I'm going to travel to Colorado, travel to Utah, travel across the country, And it doesn't matter if it's by myself. It doesn't need to be with anybody else, but I am going to fully embrace and live my life. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to do the things that I want to do. I'm going to finally join a pickleball league, which, believe it or not, I'm kind of late to the party on that. I am going to do and live my life fully. My lesson, my message that I'm wanting to get about isn't really anything to do with me. It's that what are you doing that is bringing you joy, filling your cup, that you are, it's not necessarily just from a selfish approach, but what are you doing that you know is a part of your mission or purpose? Maybe you have young kids, and so you're like in the throes of raising those kids. Outstanding. Maybe it is something related to work or hobbies. I'm just at a place now where my youngest is about to graduate high school. I've officially given up dating, have not been on dating apps, and and if God brings me somebody, God brings me somebody. And I'm just staying in that place. It has freed me in a way that I have not felt this free in some time. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why it happened. I don't know if it was like the shock of a relationship that I wanted to work that didn't. I don't know. But I will tell you, it is definitely the place for me to be. I am not sad I'm not missing out on anything. As a matter of fact, I'm able to embrace more things because I'm fully and actively living my life. I was talking to a friend about kind of something like this, and it's like, when you put yourself in these different social circles, for me it could be bike riding, for me it could be pickleball, traveling, concerts, whatever. You automatically are going to connect and meet with people in those areas. And that's what my life's about. My life is about meeting people, touching people, helping them. It's not about finding a wife. I had a wife for 19 years. I may never get married again. And if I never get married again, on my deathbed, I will die a happy man. If for some reason God brings me this person that makes sense for me to marry, I won't hesitate. But it's not in my control. And what's true about Ben all too often is I try to control too much. When we give up control, when we give up the reins, allow God to do it, and live during that process, then the power that embodies us to do is so much healthier and empowering. And not everybody gets remarried again. There's not a rite of passage to get married again. It's not an automatic. So you have to accept, you have to live, and you have to do it in a way that honors your own legacy, the way your kids view you, and you need to do it. And your kids are going to want you to be happy and joyful and have a full life as we all get older. And that's what I'm doing. And that realization has been a huge game changer for me that I thought I'd spend episode 76 telling you fine folks all about. So that's all, kind of a shorter one, just kind of more of an update. Do me a favor. We're trying to push to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So get on there, hit subscribe, then you'll never miss an episode. 76 episodes in, and there's no slowing down. This is something that eventually I want to take on the road with me. There's all sorts of ideas I have to do with this podcast. And it all started with just a goal of doing 10. It started so simple. It is still simple, but it's grassroots. It's fun. I appreciate it more that you care to even listen to me talk about whatever I decide to talk about. So reach out, let me know what you think. Give me a good review on Spotify or Apple. That's always nice. And can't wait to talk to you more next episode, which will be a humdinger, I am sure. Have a great night. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Let's keep the conversation going. You can reach out on Ben's website, www.benkeechshow.com, or on social media to chat. And please remember to subscribe so that you never miss an episode.